All right, let's dive headfirst into the chaotic, cursed, and absolutely brilliant world of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1. This whole story really kicks off with one high school kid, one impossible choice, and a consequence that literally unleashes an ancient evil on the modern world.
And that brings us to the one terrifying question that sits at the very heart of this entire show. What happens when a totally normal guy, in one moment of sheer desperation, swallows a cursed finger and invites the legendary King of Curses to basically move in and become his new roommate?
So it all starts with a single, extraordinary choice. But before we get to what he did, you've got to understand who he is. We need to meet the boy who makes this fateful decision.
Okay, so this is Yuji Itadori. And at first glance, he seems like a pretty typical high schooler, right? He's goofing around with his friends in the occult club, but there's something else going on. The kid has, and I mean this literally, superhuman physical strength. But despite that, his main focus, his everyday routine, is visiting his dying grandfather in the hospital.
Now these are the last words Yuji's grandfather ever says to him. And you need to understand, this isn't just some nice piece of advice. This becomes Yuji's entire moral compass. This one sentence is going to drive every single choice he makes from here on out, no matter how awful the price.
And believe me, the consequences show up almost immediately. See, Yuji's friends back in the occult club, they find what they think is just some cool, spooky trinket. But it's not. It's a seriously high-grade, cursed object. And by breaking its seal, they basically ring the dinner bell for a swarm of horrifying monsters right in the middle of their school.
So Yuji and this young jujutsu sorcerer he just met, Megumi Fushiguro, they are completely overwhelmed. They're about to die. And with his grandpa's words, help people, bouncing around in his head, Yuji sees only one way out. He grabs the source of all the chaos, a rotting, severed finger, and he swallows it.
By eating that finger, Yuji does more than just save his friends. He basically kicks the door wide open to a secret world of monsters and magic that's been hiding in the shadows this whole time. Welcome to the cursed world.
So what are these things they're fighting? They're called curses. And you can think of them as the literal physical embodiment of humanity's worst feelings. All that fear, hatred, jealousy, it pools together in places like schools and hospitals, and eventually a monster is born from it. The more bad vibes, the stronger the curse. And who fights them? That's where Jujutsu sorcerers come in. They're a secret society of warriors who can actually see these things. And get this, they fight curses by using cursed energy, the very same power that creates them in the first place. They're fighting fire with fire, protecting the rest of us from threats we can't even see.
But here's the kicker. That finger Yuji ate, it wasn't just any cursed object. It belonged to real men Sukuna. We're talking about the undisputed King of Curses, a legendary, terrifying evil from 1,000 years ago. Yuji didn't just get a power-up, he became a walking, talking prison for the most feared being in history.
Now, according to the laws of the Jujutsu world, Yuji is way too dangerous to be kept alive. The rule is simple. He has to be executed, immediately. But then, the legendary sorcerer Satoru Gojo shows up and sees a 1 in a billion opportunity. He gives Yuji a choice. You can die right now, or you can help us find all 20 of Sukuna's fingers, eat them all, and then we'll execute you, taking the King of Curses down for good. Some choice, right?
And true to his grandfather's last wish, Yuji chooses the path that could save the most people. He agrees to postpone his own death sentence and enrolls at Tokyo Jujutsu High to embrace his bizarre new fate.
And this is where he meets his new classmates, our core team for the series. You've got Yuji, the powerhouse with a heart of gold. Then there's Megumi, the serious, brooding sorcerer who summons these amazing shadow creatures. And finally, Nobara Kugisaki, the fierce, confident girl from the countryside whose whole fighting style revolves around a hammer and nails. She is awesome.
And who's teaching this trio? Oh, nobody special. Just Satoru Gojo, the strongest, cockiest, and frankly completely untouchable jujitsu sorcerer alive. He's the one who sees the potential in Yuji and is willing to break all the rules to give him a fighting chance.
But this isn't your average high school experience. It's not all fun and games. Yuji and his friends are about to get a brutal lesson in the true cost of being a sorcerer. Their very first real mission sends them to a detention center, and, well, it's a trap. A special grade curse shows up, a monster that is so far out of their league it's not even funny. They get completely wrecked. With his friends on the verge of death, Yuji realizes his own strength isn't enough. In a last-ditch effort to save them, he lets Sukuna out.
Sukuna emerges and, yeah, he just effortlessly erases the enemy curse.
But he has absolutely no intention of giving Yuji his body back. To trap Yuji's soul, Sukuna does something of pure, calculated evil. He reaches into Yuji's chest and rips out his heart. And just like that, Yuji Itadori is dead. We are only a handful of episodes in, and the main character of the show is gone. It is a shocking, brutal, and unbelievably quick end to his story.
Or is it? Because in the world of Jujutsu, you learn pretty quickly that even death can be just the beginning of a much bigger, much more dangerous fight. So, in the space between life and death, Yuji confronts Sukuna inside his own soul. The curse offers him a deal. He'll forge a pact to bring Yuji back to life. Yuji agrees, but the exact terms of that deal are a total mystery, planting this terrifying little time bomb right in the center of his being. Meanwhile, the real villains of the story finally make their move. And we're not talking about just random monsters. This is an organized team of super intelligent, special-grade curses. Their goal isn't just chaos. They want to wipe out humanity for good. Their whole plan hinges on two things: getting rid of Satoru Gojo and getting Sukuna on their side.
So Gojo decides to play this smart. He keeps Yuji's revival a complete secret from the rest of the Jujutsu world, hiding him away. This gives them the perfect chance for some intense one-on-one training. Yuji has to learn to stop being just a container and start being a real sorcerer.
And that really brings us to the core conflict of the whole series, doesn't it? Yuji Itadori has a demonic time bomb ticking away in his soul and an army of intelligent monsters closing in from the outside. So, can he hunt down all of Sukuna's fingers and become a hero before the monster inside him takes over for good? The fight for his soul and for the entire world is really just getting started.